This is a 350-gallon Rubbermaid stock tank from Tractor Supply. I've kept all kinds of things in these stock tanks, such as rare albino turtles, soft-shell turtles, musk turtles, or an occasional school of gambusia. Today, we're going to be turning one of these stock tanks into an epic fish pond. And in fact, some of the fish that we will be putting in here are quite dangerous. So we have all of our substrate here, and basically what we need to do is get this stuff cleaned up, and what we're going to use is our substrate clean out kit. So this is our substrate clean out kit, and this is actually really basic concept on how to clean this stuff out, but I'm basically going to show you how this works, and we're going to get all of this rock cleaned out before we get it into this pond. So the setup is pretty simplistic. This is a tall laundry basket, and inside of this tall laundry basket, what we're placing is a mesh laundry basket, just like this. That'll allow us to put all of our rock inside of here, which will ultimately save it from going out the sides and will allow us to clean it fully without having a bunch of dirt left on it. So with all this in here now, we'll go ahead and wash the rest of them. You can still see it's a little dirty, but not nearly as dirty as it would have been. Well, we have all of our gravel washed and in the bottom of this tub. We're gonna go ahead and spread this out, and we're gonna go ahead and fill it up with water because we may need to drain it one time just to get the leftover dirt out of here. So let's go ahead and fill this thing up. All right guys, well this thing is filling up and this water is completely chlorinated at this point. We're gonna go ahead and treat this water with some of our favorite products, which is API Stress Coat for ponds. That'll go ahead and dechlorinate this water and get this ready to set up some filtration in here. But once we get this dechlorinated, what we also wanna do is we wanna go ahead and add some driftwood to this thing. These are just some random pieces of driftwood. It is nothing spectacular, but I do want some wood in here, and we'll scape this thing out the way we need to later on. There's going to be some hides in there and all kinds of things, but for right now I want to go ahead and get this driftwood in here so it can start soaking, and that way it'll hopefully stay at the bottom once it soaks up some water. So let's go ahead and get this thing dechlorinated. All right guys, well we're out at the pond and we're actually gonna take all of the plants that we have left in this pond inside to put into this new pond. And that's really just to keep them safe during the winter. We don't want them dying, and then we'll replant these back out here next year, or we'll put new plants in here. We're not really sure. But for today, we're going to at least take these plants, load them into this 5-gallon bucket and get them inside. All right, well, we have these plants, so let's get these in there and at least get these started, and we'll come back and see what else we can get. All right, guys, well, we are back in here at the pond, and as you saw earlier, it is completely cleared up. Everything is looking good. So we went to the backyard pond and we got all of the plants out of that so they don't die, and we're gonna house those into this pond for the winter and see how they do with these catfish. Let's go ahead and get these things in here, and don't even get me lying on what these things are. I have no idea what they are, but I will say that they will do really well in here, as they did really well outside. Just gonna plant these right into this rock substrate, and we'll start moving around this pond, planting this stuff down in here. We also have some frog bit that we're gonna drop in here, which will do really well once we get some light on it. See, some of this stuff is already well weighted down because of the root mat that's been created, and it's actually grown into the substrate of that pond back there. So some of this stuff we can just drop in here, and it doesn't really have to be planted necessarily. Like that right there can just drop right there, and it's gonna do just fine. A lot more of this frog bit here. Go ahead and drop this in here. I said this stuff is doing great. It's grown so great out there in the pond. This is a Nubius frazzeri. This thing is quite dirty with algae, but that's okay. And this is a massive lily, and I'm hoping that with bringing that thing in here and it getting some warmth to it will actually be a little bit of growth to that thing. I'm not really sure, but we'll see. Some more of this in here. Now you're probably noticing that I'm not putting anything in this side over here, and the reason is because this is where the filtration system is going to be, so we got to make sure that we keep an open area for the filtration. One of the things we also want to do is we want to kind of build a hide some sort for these guys, because catfish definitely like to hide. So I'm gonna put this big block like right over here to start, kind of build up a hide. Next thing is we need to go ahead and get the filtration system in this pond and get it going. And I was gonna do a trash can filter, very similar to this one and the one that's over there, which we'll talk about all this stuff later. But I've decided I'm just gonna go ahead and use the existing filtration that these fish have been using since I've had them, and I've had them for about 2 years. You guys have just never seen them. So we're gonna go ahead and move that in here, and then we'll introduce you to these fish. And then I'm gonna put some other fish in here too, so stay tuned for that. We're gonna go ahead and set this filter box right here and get this thing pushed down so it can fill with water. All right, so we got this thing set where we need it to, and the water is flowing, and the water is super dirty coming out of this pump because of all the beneficial bacteria that is colonized in it, but that's okay. We're gonna get this thing permanently set right here.
3 days later.
As you can see, this pond has completely cleared up. The filtration is running. All the plants look good in here. We have all of the frog bit and then all of the marginal pond plants that are in here, but everything is looking good. Now the only thing that we have left to do is to get these massive rip-saw catfish relocated into this pond, and I have a feeling the first place they're gonna go is right up in there underneath that hide. So let's go get these guys captured and moved out here. We now have our rip-saw catfish totally rehomed into their brand new, fully planted pond. You can see that guy right down in there. He'll be good there, but everything is looking good in this pond, guys. Like, the rip-saw catfish have been completely rehomed into this pond. The plants in the pond are looking great. The filtration's running great. Everything is running great. You know what else is running great? These dudes over here. We'll give you an update on all the turtles at some point. We got all these over here. We have a huge turtle pond over here. Well, there's Elon Musk down there and Shay Musk, like they're chilling. Everything in the pond is looking great, guys, and our big rip-saw catfish there is out exploring around. We have our other one hiding behind the filter box over here. But with this thing being fully ready to go, we're gonna go ahead and go to the backyard pond and scoop up all of our fish and bring them in here and acclimate them to this water and put them in here, because these rip-saw catfish are not going to kill the goldfish and eat them. They're more of a scavenger, but we're going to go ahead and scoop these goldfish up and bring them back and get them into this pond. All right, guys, well, as you can see, we have all of our goldfish that have been gathered up, as well as some gambusia that will go in here. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and get these guys acclimated by just simply putting some of this pond water directly into this bucket here. And we'll sit there and let them acclimate to that water, and we'll just keep filling it until it's full, and then we'll go ahead and drop these guys in here.
A few moments later.
As well, we have already bucket acclimated all of these fish. These things are ready to go in here. So let's go ahead and start putting these fish in here. So we're gonna start with this big old calico goldfish. It's a fantail goldfish. There that guy goes. We have another calico fantail. I'm gonna get this guy in here too. Look at how beautiful this fish is, guys. Absolutely love that fish. All right guys, well with this thing being done and these fish being in here, we only have one thing to do. And that is, well, taking a look at this pond and the plants that are in here, what I realize is that the garage lights that I have running in here are not gonna be sufficient for keeping these plants growing. So we need to go ahead and put some actual light in here for the plants. And we're gonna set that up like a PVC pipe stand. And it's just gonna be some basic garage lighting, 5,000 Kelvin light that will run, you know, 8-10 hours a day. So let's go ahead and get that set up. This pond is absolutely complete at this point. We actually went ahead and installed the light system, and I'm gonna show you that in just a second. But before I did, I wanna just show you. You can see this lily. It is already starting to grow just from the couple of days of being out of that really cold water and in this warm water with this light. This plant over here is looking really good too. The catfish are tearing up these plants, so I gotta figure out some way to get these to stay down in the water. You can kind of see them back there as well. But overall, this thing is looking fantastic. You can see some of the gambusia there swimming around. They're doing really, really good. There's one lone goldfish over there. There are actually goldfish all around here too. They actually eat the algae off of these plants, which is good. You can see the tail of one of the catfish right there. And then the big goldfish that we put in here. Those things actually stay up underneath this hide as well. Where those catfish are, well, at least one of the catfish, the other catfish is right here. He likes it down here by the filter box, and that's okay. But those goldfish actually stay up. Oh, there's one right there. You can see it. He just came out. Look at that. Well, you can't see it because of the light. There he is right there. He just came out of there. He likes it up under the hide. They both do for some reason, and that's okay. But everything in this pond is doing absolutely fantastic, guys. This pond looks great. Now, to the light system. I have all the lights off in here, but you can see this is just a 5,000 Kelvin garage light. And basically it is on, it's a PVC stand that's basically a T that has two ends that gives it the footing, comes up, across, and then back down to the same thing, which gives us this nice light stand, and it sheds perfect light onto this pond to allow for perfect growth. It's also on a Google plug, so it actually stays on for a certain amount of time. Now I did turn it on tonight because it is dark right now in order for me to show this to you. See both of those big goldfish right there. You see this whole little school of goldfish right over here, but everything in this pond is doing great. The turtles are doing really well. We actually have one more pond to set up in this garage setup, and once we do that, then we will come back and we will look at all of the ponds together, and I'll give you a tour of everything that we've set up in here. So make sure, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any of the new content that's coming out. We're gonna start trying to be way more consistent than we have been in the past. If you haven't followed us on Facebook and Instagram, make sure that you do that. Links to both are down below. But I really am grateful, guys. Thank you for coming along and watching this video with us today, and thank you for subscribing and watching our content. We really do appreciate it. So with that, guys, I'm excited to get the next one out, so we will see you next time.